Picture it, man. It's January 29th, 2023, and you just cracked open your favorite mobile bubble popping Dragon Ball game, and you're so ready to do some gambling. The Z Duo looks phenomenal with stellar animations and a nuking active skill too peak to put into words. Its counterpart, the GT Duo, would go on to reign above tier lists for almost 6 months. This is going to be the best year in Dokkan history. You can feel it. And then March 6th arrived faster than a Dodge Ram from Truth. Oh, reliable. Pop quiz, you got 10 seconds. Who in God's name did Akatsuki design Super 17 for? Were you supposed to run the unit as a joke? Target Goku makes sense on an extreme unit that needs other extreme units, but what the fuck were you supposed to make of the Join Forces tag? And its 200% was androids? Did Amatsu know that releasing a stacking offensive unit with no nuking ability is counterproductive? How are these guys ever supposed to age into content that released the same year? Medium chance to super on additionals and a fusing condition that gatekeeps an additional 10 received attacks on passive. This isn't even legendary Goku tier, this is just insulting. How could you spend money on this with a smile on your face? But that's okay, I mean, they got a banner unit. Banner units are designed to pull the Dokkan Fest team together, and I'm sure this is... What do you mean Mew and Jiro aren't even on his 200%? And why fucking release him? Okay, so what if they also release 3 EZAs that literally can't be run on his team due to being super, and a 4th EZA that's free to play and unrunnable in actual content? This is one of those one-off bad filler banners that Dokkan gets from time to time. Fast forward to April. Here it comes. Peak. This is coming off of an extremely successful God Goku TUR, and Dokkan's got some wind under its wings again. Show it to... It's Kale? Well, I guess you gotta get her in sometime. So, no doubt she'll be an absolute monster then, right? This is a DFE with one of those wacky must-have conditionals that makes the character completely unrunnable in all of the relevant content. You need a Caulifla, and you might be thinking, well, the LR Kale and Caulifla got an EZA this same celebration. And I'll spare you the surprise. That shit did not land. So, what do we do now? Well, we rely on the banner unit. Yeah, just kidding. Frost and Frieza are fucking terrible. You couldn't fuck this guy with somebody else's dick. A loser in every possible way. I'm not even going to post-transform Kale's abilities. The only thing transformative about this unit is the toll on your mental health. Your family won't recognize a person you used to be after you pop open the wallet for this trash. I know who you're thinking about, and he's not getting a full section. Part 2 of our celebration was an abysmal LR Super Buu release that could have been cool if he wasn't completely teamless, only on the 170% leads for almost an entire year, I believe, and dripping with conditional defense that he needs to have a chance at stacking his passive. Terrible. So, imagine there's a character that wants to primarily be ran against Goku family enemies, but at this point the mythical Blue Zone hard content is literally just a conspiracy theory that keeps floating around the discourse circles whenever people bring up villains being usable. That's Fizz Turles, our end of May, start of June GOAT, to follow up a super successful Golden Week that absolutely cleared with all 3 releases. Turles is on a fucking bomb of an island, a dud. Stacking, but his damage, even for the time, is just okay. Links with big bad bosses, which is and continues to be one of the deadest link sets in the game. The potential for an LR strength EZA that literally only came a week ago as of recording this. No place to run because the leader skill is outdated on release. No enemies to fight because the Blue Zone doesn't exist. What do? What you do is release one of the single worst LRs in the history of the game. I could dedicate an entire video to talking about how bad the Tree of Life base Goku is. Not only is he the 3rd base Goku in the year, meaning he can't slide onto teams without conflicting with link partners, but he's the worst by so many measures that you'd actually have to jam him several tiers down before we even started talking about him just being the 3rd best of the 3 options. As far as Dokkan goes in 2023, you could argue that this is the single lowest of the low. With all that said, a big celebration was coming up, and that means profit. We had to be getting a monster. LR AGL Omega Shenron is a crime against God's green earth. I can't fathom how this happened. Before I even post his details or talk about his kit, this is his leader skill as of a full year later. The worst crime committed by Omega is that he's not even particularly bad himself. This is Potential the character. It's not hard to see. He is great if his conditionals are fulfilled, but every character you want to run alongside him was dropped without help or over a year old at this point. which is unfortunate because the game was going through another massive wave of content power creep. He didn't have a place to compete, he didn't have a team to fall back on, he still hasn't gotten any help. We thought a GT celebration might be coming for Worldwide, but it ended up being Double Broly, which unfortunately doesn't save a Mega. It's over. Super Trunks is a great example of a character that, if released in 2024, would be amazing. He'd get easy A's to help his team, would have guaranteed guard instead of a chance to die, and wouldn't feel his conditionals as badly. I mean, look at the Majin Buu Saga celebration we had earlier this year. Some characters needing fellow Saga characters on rotation, but nothing that couldn't be handled with the torrent of support they got like most other characters this year. This guy, however, was outdated the moment he released. Ring the dinner bell for the enemy AoE. Every hard fight had a brutal int phase this year, and if they didn't, they had way too much ticky-tacky pressure targeting his aged out allies. Again, I'm not posting his transformed self. If you crank out enough private server attempts on this guy, you'll see it, but that's not the intention with which they release difficult fights. In reality, this dude's a flop merchant, an attempts succubus. You'd be in and out of tries before Cell could tell you I told you so. And last, but certainly not least, is the man of the hour. The final miserable release of 2023, but a character that meant so much to the people that wanted him. I pulled for him, you pulled for him. He's AGL fusing Vegito. Conditional slot 1 defense is a death throw. Guard that wears off with a transformation requirement that all but guarantees that you're watching this guy die on the same turn he theoretically could become Vegito. Defense on his 18 key, but not his 12, promising that he'll age without some fun potential turns to rely on. And a kit that screams easy A despite being at best 3 years away. What an abortion. His animations are shaky, especially for a big celebration unit, but I was willing to overlook it for that sweet Vegito. Instead, we got a character who's predominantly in his base, putting up numbers that don't even scratch the taint of the next worst release of the year. Somehow, in 2023, they dropped a premium LR that does less damage in base than several fillers from the same year. And now, as it goes with hated characters, he is living out his legacy in 2024 through Fizz Ultimate Gohan Syndrome, where he's only brought up as engagement farming, no guys, he's really good fodder. And that's a year in retrospect. If you like the video, like the video. Subscribe to join the club. I've been Lone. I'll be back with more Dokkan and whatever else I fucking feel like. We all gonna make it, by the way. Peace.